Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 26th, about 6 a.m. Central Time. Overnight, the precious metals are bouncing back after Monday's aggressive sell-off. We saw a drop in gold of over $90 an ounce, silver down over $1 at one point, along with Bitcoin, Treasury yields, and also the U.S. dollar all falling, while U.S. equities gapped higher and filled the gap over the course of the trading session. The markets are digesting a couple big headlines here. One, decreasing geopolitical headlines between Israel and Iran, along with an announcement of Scott Bessent as the new Treasury Secretary. He's viewed as dovish, rational, pro-growth on the economy, and a long-term thinker. So traders must adapt to this type of current trading environment as headline-driven, as shock and awe type of impacting prices. You want to think knee-jerk reaction like what we experience oftentimes when we do have those rising geopolitical risks of things of ceasefire, increasing escalation, retaliation, those types of headlines really moving around the energy markets and the equities. That's what we're getting here with types of events surrounding tariffs on the precious metals markets. So oftentimes I'll adjust my trading strategy to utilize options rather than stop losses for the time being, or I'll use a deferred contract as my long-term position, and then I'll risk manage a closer dated contract. Think May on silver as long-term, March on silver as short-term. Now looking at the overnight price action, we do have December gold up $13 at $26.31. That's up about 0.5%. Silver futures up 32 cents at $30.56. That's up 1%. Copper futures unchanged at $4.15. Aluminum futures slightly lower. Same thing with platinum. Platinum had a pretty big washout here yesterday. We're going to eye that contract as it gets closer to that 900. And seasonally, we come into a period of time where, the end of November, we've seen platinum futures rise 14 out of the last 15 years, going all the way out into the January month as a lot of new restocking occurs and redesigning of different things that'll utilize some of these unique base metals. Now looking at Bitcoin having a 2-day sell-off here. We saw a big rotation in Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies yesterday. Today here, we're continuing to see that sell-off, and it could be a rotation back into precious metals. We'll have to monitor that, as well as crude oil futures snapping back up about 1%, and then U.S. equities seamlessly anchoring themselves around some of these hold numbers here, like 6,000 on the U.S. On the S&P 500, to 21,000 on the NASDAQ, Dow Jones right around 45,000. So some of the top headlines here. So if you look at the markets this morning, what you're going to miss out on is what happened overnight. Now, overnight, the markets were completely rattled. President-elect Donald Trump, he vowed additional tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. He said he would impose 10% tariffs on goods from China, 25% tariffs on all products from Mexico and Canada. This comes as he wants to impact those import tariffs as necessary in order to clamp down on migrants crossing over the border with Mexico and Canada, and then also the fentanyl problem that's coming in from China. So the dollar had really gapped higher. We saw precious metals under quite a bit of pressure, U.S. equities, and everything across the board that overnight session before starting to claw its way back. Now today and tomorrow, we're going to see a slew of economic data that may yield some clues on what the Fed's likely to do as far as the next rate path. Today, we're going to see consumer confidence expected at 112 versus 108. We'll see new home sales, and we'll also see the Fed minutes. The Fed minutes could provide how the Fed is identifying and adapting to different fluctuations in inflation. We expect to see the Fed cut rates at the December meeting. However, that number is leveling more out towards 50-50. Tomorrow, we're going to see preliminary GDP, unemployment claims, durable goods, and also PCE data. Now, looking at the gold market here and getting into the February contract, we got to get above 27.50 in order to really stimulate quite a bit of buying. We had a false signal with that 5-day rally up into Friday, and it looked like we were set to break out. Had we not had that announcement of the Treasury Secretary and the ceasefire, I believe that futures prices would be closer to $2,800 and getting ready to knock on the door on all-time highs. Since then, we've had this breakdown, so we've got a couple levels we've got to look at. We've got to look at 2,600 as your key line of support. Below that's going to be the washout low from November 14th. Similar situation in the silver market. An interesting dynamic about silver is that we are back at 87-1 on the gold-silver ratio, really gotten itself into a bind here, not really choosing whether it's trading with the copper or the gold market at the moment. You do have the 200-day moving average sitting at 29.86. A lot of participants are waiting for that type of sell-off before they add additional positions to that market. Now, getting into some other things here, we do have an explosive move in the natural gas market to the upside and that correction in Bitcoin. I anticipate to see a lot of volume coming to that market as it starts to go back on sale. And I think that we'll see more of that attack for $100,000 as we get closer into this holiday season. So you guys got any questions, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Remember, futures option trading does involve risk loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.